Topical probably for creating impactful healthcare dashboards. Thanks.
Hi everyone, and thanks Andre for the introduction. So I've got a slide deck, so I'm just going to jump onto that, and then maybe at the end I will leave time for some questions. Um, okay. Okay, so I guess you all can see my slides here. So yeah, we are going to talk about dashboards for lunch today, and as you may really know, that dashboards are really one of the widely used outputs from the data science team, and it really plays a major role in healthcare decision making. So the plan for this hour is I'm going to share our journey of harnessing some of the data assets over the last few months, and then how did we turn raw data into actionable insights and some of the best practices that we have implemented over the last year. Okay, so these are really some of the popular memes that kind of go on in in the data science world. So if you have really interacted with healthcare dashboards or some dashboards in the past, you may be able to relate to some. So there may be dashboards which can almost make you cry, or only because those are really not very user-friendly dashboards. Um, so the whole point that I'm trying to make out here is we should really build dashboards that are meeting the user needs, and there should be some kind of logical data hierarchy in the dashboard. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit more as we just go along. But at this point, if you can think of maybe one or two words that come to your mind when you think of good dashboard, so you can just drop it over in the chat. We can, at the end of the session, I can come back and see if we have covered all of those. Okay, so this is the outline of the story that I have for you today. So we are going to start with some context about really the environment that we operate in, a little bit of details about the portfolio that I work in, and how did we and the approach that we took to utilize the data to drive product success. I'm going to talk about some of our experiences, show you some examples, and then later part, I'm going to talk about this dashboard development lifecycle, which is a structured process that we kind of utilize in our team, really to create, manage, and maintain dashboards. And at the end, wrap up with some lessons learned over our journey over the last two years on this. So talking about the context, so our portfolio works really closely with some of the BC health sector partners and comprises of multiple product teams. So all of these bubbles that you see out here, these are name of the products that we have launched so far, or we are working on those. It includes a range of products like synchronous and asynchronous virtual visit platforms, like you have got Zoom for healthcare, and you have got BCVV, which is a BC virtual visit, which is the teledoc. And you have got knowledge translation tools like the BC Virtual and Digital Health Atlas, and we have recently launched the PSBC Health Hub, and also some of the patient self-assessment platforms like the long-term COVID, which is also launched in the last year. So all of this platform. So if you are interested to know a little bit more about the products, we have a very good high-functioning website of the Provincial Virtual Health, and you will find much more details about all of the products. But coming back to our topic here, so these platforms or these products are a combination of both homegrown as well as vendor platforms. And this has a combined user base of more than 50 to 60,000 users across the province and beyond as well. And our portfolio really supports more than 1 million provincial virtual health visits annually. Okay, with that context, so with that increasing portfolio of virtual and digital health products that we manage, that our portfolio manages, so we have been exposed to a rapidly increasing data volumes over the last year, and also a lot of different data sources. Right now, we are dealing with both quantitative and qualitative data sets from all of the products. And at the same point, there was an accelerated demand for the product insights. So we have got this 15 plus product teams, and they all needed some actionable insights on the products that they are working on. So the team that I lead is a virtual health data analytics team. We had to find out a smarter way really to manage all of these data assets in the context of this increasing volumes, um, to produce some actionable insights at scale and on demand, and which prompted us to take an approach which I'm going to talk about shortly. So this is the approach that we took in order to really gain some of the insights from the products that I just talked about. So we did a shift. So the shift was from the reactive approach to producing just ad hoc dashboards based on the data that we were receiving, to a more proactive approach of really sort of generating insights. So this is the approach. Step one is, before even going into the data, we sit with the product teams and the clinical partners. So in that interactions, we just try to identify some of the success metrics of the products, and also the why behind the metrics. So not all products are kind of built to have the same success metrics, but we just try to understand the success metrics and define why should we track that. Step two is where the tech stuff kicks in. It's really the data acquisition and the data processing and the data visualization happens. Step three is, once we come to a stage where we have some good, reasonable amount of dashboards, we try to create some data stories with some of the actionable insights which are plugged in. I'm going to show you all a snippet of a data story that we just published last month. And the step four, yeah, is we try to make sure all of the metrics and all of the insights that we produce have some actionable components onto it, and we recommend as well. So this is an iterative process. And the principle behind this process is to reduce the distance between the data consumers and our data assets. So that was a whole principle behind doing this approach. Now, this is what we really consider in our team as our North Star when we talk about product success. Kind of when we sit with the product teams and the clinical partners to discuss what kind of products may be useful to measure success for a particular product. So these are some of our key guiding factors. Most of the products that has been launched over the past couple of years, we are tracking indicators like usability, the user experience, and the technical performance of the platform, the support quality. And in a longer term, we are also trying to measure the value and the benefits realization of the product. So this is our kind of whole guiding board for our product metrics. Now, with this approach that I just talked on, and with the data that we have been exposed to, so what we have created is what you're seeing here in the slide. It's called a digital and virtual health product analytics platform. So this is the user interface, and this is built on a Microsoft Power BI platform. So all of the cards that you see out here, so these are the product categories, and each of this point to specific products for which we are tracking. So maybe I can show you very quickly how does the platform look like. I've got it open out here. So this is the actual platform. And let's say I'm just going to pick up any one of the card, which is the clinician to clinician communication. So once you click in here, so these are the names of the product that you saw in one of my slides. So let's just pick PSBC Health Hub. So this is one of the product that we are tracking. This is all happening inside the Power BI platform. So this is the landing page of the dashboard. So we have a product description. We have some of the key metrics, the key contacts, and the data refresh rate and the data sources as well. And we have tried to kind of structure our dashboard into different views. So the top view is an executive view, which will give you the high level metrics of the product. And if someone is interested, depending on who is kind of interacting with the dashboard, so they can go on to the details and see what's happening. So for now, I'm just going to click onto the executive view out here. So this is the data that is really being generated in real time. So for a product like PSBC Hub, it is a web-based platform and it's a knowledge translation tool. So what we found useful is to really understand the total number of users. So in this time range, there were around 15,000 plus users that access the website, and some other criteria like the engagement rate and the bounce rate as well. And other metrics that we tracked was user distribution by device, how many people are really accessing via mobile and desktop, and what are the trends in user acquisition. So this is, and where are people accessing Hub from? So kind of we can get to the details of really the city and the place where people are accessing this platform, and also some of the top web pages that people are viewing in. So what this does is this gives us some insights onto really the user acquisition, the user adoption, and if there are kind of highly valued resources or pages that we need to really improve and focus on. So this is how the platform looks like, and we have tried to do this. This is still I'll say a little bit of work in progress at this point of time, but we have tried to create it like this for most of the products that we try to manage. So going back to my slide here. Okay, now once we have created this dashboards in the platform that you have seen. So we try to produce quarterly data stories on how virtual care is really impacting in the province. So this is the latest data story that was published, I think, April of 2024. That this picks up certain components of the insights and the metrics that you saw in the dashboard, and we just try to create a data story which could be understood by anyone who really doesn't know what Power BI is, and kind of who needs to understand really the impact of all of the data and the insights that we are kind of doing out here. So this says that over 45,000 virtual health users are actively using Zoom for Healthcare platform, and there has been more than 3 million virtual health visits. So this is live here. Let me try to show you this. Okay, so I can share with you all a link to this data story if you are interested to know more on this. Yeah, this has some kind of good details on really some of the key insights and trends that we have been tracking, and how does this really matter in the overall or long-term concept. And the way that we try to structure a data story is we pick up really highlights from the dashboard, from the products that we are tracking, and then give some key indicators here with a link to a full report that we have. So the report is also accessible kind of by the public. If you click the link, you will get details of all the reports that we have so far. Okay. So coming back to the slide, so this is the way that we have structured our dashboards and the data stories in our team. Okay, now moving on. So this is the third section of our slide deck here today. So I'm going to talk about a dashboard development lifecycle. This is the exact process that we follow in our team, really to produce, maintain, and manage and create dashboards. So I think this is one of the most important slides in my slide deck here today that I have for you all. But this is a 50,000 feet view of the process that we follow, which and what my experience has been, that there may be a perception among certain end users that creating a dashboard is equivalent to an IT service request, like installing a new software, which is not the case. Creating dashboards should be treated as a full-fledged project, which usually has phases like this, which starts with an intake process. We have a dashboard intake process where we do the needs assessment, whether really do we need a dashboard or we just need some flat files of data for the end user. So once this passes through this intake process, so there are in the pre-development phase, what we try to spend time on is to understand the key goals and objectives of the dashboard and what are the key requirements for the dashboard. Identify some of the KPIs and metrics, which is step one in the approach that I kind of outlined. So we also try to define the user personas. So we have tried to implement a role-based user access, depending on what kind of user and what kind of dashboard needs. We create roles, and then we assign specific people to the roles. So this is all what it happens in the pre-development phase, where we also spend a chunk of the time to identify the data sources that we have. So at times, it may be from the system backend, or it may be from some of the usability focus groups that we have for the products, which leads to both qualitative and quantitative data sets. And now, so the phase two is actually where the technical piece happens. We complete this process of ETL, and we bring over the data to Microsoft Power BI platform. We spend time to model the data, and then we, based on the metrics of the KPI, we just try to create some visualizations. And after that, there is a testing and also an user acceptance testing at the end. And of course, this all goes through a privacy review as well. So this is where kind of really we create the dashboard and the data visualizations based on the needs assessment that we did in phase one. So phase three is when we release the dashboard, and then then this comes a phase of user training and support. What we have seen really work for us is certain tip sheets of how to access the dashboard. We try to really embed that inside the dashboard. And also we create a space where people can just provide some feedback as well. So this is really the phase three, and the phase three, a chunk of the time is also spent on change management. So once we release the first cut of the dashboard, usually there's a lot of feedback and a lot of changes are requested on the dashboard. So we have a change management process to really handle all the changes that are requested for the dashboard, and then kind of we really follow just the intake process, because if the changes are really of complex, then it takes a lot of significant effort from our team as well. Okay, so this is our intake and prioritization process. As I said, this happens when somebody reaches out to us and say that we are launching a new product next month. We might need a dashboard really to track the product utilization. So this is the way the discussion happens, and then we have a form which needs to be filled up, and then kind of our team reviews the form, and we have a prioritization metrics depending on the resources that we have in our team and also the timelines. And then we take the request to this intake and prioritization process. So, and this is the pre-development process phase that I talked about. We set objectives, we have actionable metrics and KPI, we create user personas depending on who is going to view the dashboard. Is this dashboard going to be at the executive level, or maybe people at the analyst level will be able to use the dashboard? So the user personas are created, identify the data sources, and also create a dashboard prototype if needed. So we don't create a prototype every time, only because we have a structure in place. But if the dashboard is highly complicated, before even getting into the details of the dashboard, we create a prototype and just make sure that the users or the end users have a sign off on the process. This is where the dev phase happens. We kind of the entire ETL process, the data modeling, the data visualization, testing accuracy, and the deployment of the feedback. And this is what happens in the post-development phase. So one of the important metrics that we are trying to track right now is adoption of the dashboards, that how many people are actually viewing the dashboard, where are they looking, and what metrics are they finding very useful. So those kind of metrics usage kind of gives us some kind of intelligence as to where to kind of really prioritize our effort on. So this is what it happens in the post-development phase. So usually a typical dashboard in terms of the timelines, it takes around 60 to 90 days if we have the requirements clear, and if we know really the KPIs and the metrics that we are trying to track. Yeah, so this is one slide which I carry to most of my meetings, and it actually helps us really to understand the efforts needed to kind of create a dashboard. So what end users of a dashboard see is just 20% of the tip of the iceberg. Is they really see those cool and fancy looking graphs and metrics, but 80% of the work, the major bulk of the work, happens in the back end, where we really need to spend a lot of time to get the data and to process the data and to model the data in a shape and form where we really can do all this interactive dashboards and data visualization. So this is something which I found very useful, and this is also somebody who is exposed in the data science world will be able to relate to this as well. Okay, and creating a dashboard is not a single person's job. So this is the whole point of me showing here in this slide. There are kind of different roles and different people who are involved in creating a dashboard. So we have got BI specialists, we have got product owners, we have got system architects, we have got project managers, we have got DevOps people whom we engage at specific time frames, as you see out here. So this is really a multidisciplinary and a combined effort that we need to create good and user-centric dashboards. Okay, so I've got a few more slides which really talk about some of the best practices for impactful dashboards. So one of the prime questions that we are faced from all our stakeholders is, what kind of metric should be a part of your dashboard? Or how to even prioritize the metrics that I should keep on the dashboard. So usually we have a list of metrics, which is 25 to 30 metrics, but if we include all of that, it will be really cluttered and non-user friendly. So the way that we look at things is we have two kinds of metrics which we generally try to put on the dashboard. It is so the terminal metrics is some things which really represent the outcome. For example, how many users have accessed the website, what is the user acquisition trend. So those kind of stuff, and really the decision metrics on which we will be able to take some actionable steps. For example, one of the decision metrics that we track is what is the percentage of organic users to all of these platforms. Means is our search engine optimization working? So for PSBC Hub, we found out that only 4% of the total users are organic users. So, and then while doing feedback with some of the users, they actually indicated that it was very hard to find this website from a Google search. So that gave us some cues as to we need to improve the search engine optimization of Hub. So those kind of metrics, which just give us some reasons to improve or optimize the product, are labeled as decision metrics. So usually we try to restrict the metrics to two kinds of categories when we talk of dashboard. And these are some of the design principles for healthcare dashboards that we follow. We follow a uniform dashboard style guide. We have a PHSA wide dashboard style guide, so which is what we used for most of the dashboards that we have. And the style guide also contains some details about the color palettes and the color scheme that we need to use. And accessibility and compliance with the healthcare standards is also what we really kind of focus on. And that is the reason once we create a dashboard, there is always a privacy review before it is released out. And the fourth, which is we try to follow all the time, is a logical data hierarchy, so that it is easier to scan through the dashboard rather than people having a tough time to locate what they're looking for in the dashboard. Now, these are some really examples of the characteristics of good and bad dashboard. So what does a good dashboard really look like? It usually has a clean layout and intuitive design. It only has some of the relevant metrics, and it has visual clarity, consistent color scheme, as I was talking of on the slide on the style guide, and it should have a responsive design. So the reason that we have this Microsoft Power BI platform is that people can access our dashboards on a mobile phone as well through the Power BI app, and also that it should produce some accurate data. So that is very important, and that's the reason we also do our audits of our dashboard every 2 months, just to make sure that whatever data comes in, is it really the accurate or not. And obviously, really the opposite of good is bad, kind of cluttered interface and poor data visualizations, inconsistent color usage. These really indicate that those dashboards are not as great. Okay, so the dashboard style guide. So usually, most of the organizations these days have a uniform style guide, which also include the elements of branding, like the way that we have for PHSA. We have really specifics of the colors or the mix of colors that we can use, or the button sizes that we can use for any dashboards which is produced within PHSA. And we have got guidelines on user interface structures and typography as well. But for cases, if there isn't any style guide, it's important to come up with some standards on these kind of areas before you create a dashboard for the end users, just to ensure that the end users have a consistent user experience. Okay, dashboard testing. We usually do three different levels of testing. One is the functional testing, where we really check whether we have all the KPIs and we have all the metrics that we need to track. And just a functional testing of whether the dashboard is working as expected. The data accuracy testing, we just go back to the data sources, the ETL stuff that we do in the backend, the data modeling that we do. And at the end, we also have a user acceptance testing. We usually schedule focus groups for some of the end users and tell them to do some testing while we are on the call. So just to make sure that they are really getting what they need to. So this is user testing. And what we have seen over the last couple years is a data science team is not only comprised of a business intelligence specialist. So you need different kind of expertise there. You need project management expertise, data wrangling, data design, and also a person who has a domain expertise. Although in our team, this is the ideal case. Although in our team, we don't have all the expertise at this point of time, but we have most of what you see out here in the slide. Uh, yeah, so I think this is my last slide here. So these are some of the key drivers if you are trying to create dashboards or any robust analytics platform. So the first point is it should be user-centric. And the next is we should treat data as a strategic asset rather than treating data as discrete inputs to a dashboard. So there should be a way to manage your data. Like the one that we have created is a data dictionary, where we have specific elements of the data which is defined. And you should also implement some data storytelling techniques apart from the dashboard. And of course, from the technology standpoint, it should be based on a agile and scalable technical infrastructure. And like all of the processes that we talk, there should be a continuous improvement mode as well for all the analytics platforms. So I think this is the last slide, and I'll open up for questions.
Thanks, Neel. I just have one. How much do you track what users actually do? Like, are you able to determine if some function